There's a moment when someone is staring at their phone, watching the three little dots appear and disappear. A message they sent hours ago sits there, unread. Or maybe it's marked as seen, but there's no reply. Yesterday, the conversation was alive, jokes, voice notes, late-night confessions. Today, nothing. The chat that once felt like a warm room now feels like a locked door. They open the app, close it, open it again. Check if the person has posted a story. They have, so they're not dead, not busy offline, just not answering. A part of you wants to send another message. Hey, everything okay? Another part of you wants to delete the chat, unfollow, pretend you don't care. Underneath both is something heavier, a quiet sting that whispers, "What did I do wrong?" The silence isn't just silence, it feels like a judgment, like someone looked at you, weighed you, and quietly walked away without telling you why. You start scanning your last messages, your last call. Was I too much? Too honest? Too needy? The conversation replays in your head like a scene you weren't allowed to finish. And you're left with the worst job of all, writing an ending by yourself. This is where the story of ghosting really lives. Not in the apps or the technology, but in that gap between what happened and what you will never get to ask. Because ghosting doesn't just happen once. It becomes a pattern that shows up in different parts of life. Someone is casually dating. The connection feels promising. They share stories, laughs, late-night talks. There's talk of next time, maybe a plan that sounds real. Then, nothing. Messages left unread, calls ignored. No clear goodbye, no this isn't working, just empty space. On the surface, they tell friends, it's fine, we weren't serious. Inside, there's a younger voice thinking, why wasn't I worth an explanation? Another person tries to deepen a friendship. They start opening up a little more, sharing a fear, admitting they've been struggling. The friend seems supportive. Then, slowly, replies get shorter, delays longer, invitations fade. Until one day, there's just no response at all. They scroll back, wondering if that one honest message was a mistake. They think, this is why I don't open up. People always leave when I show too much. Even in work or creative projects, something similar happens. Someone starts a collaboration, a business idea, a shared plan. The other person seems excited. Messages fly back and forth. Then, as soon as it's time to commit or talk about money or define roles, one person disappears. No, I changed my mind. No, this isn't for me. Just dropped calls and unanswered emails. The one left behind feels confused and a little foolish, wondering if they imagined how enthusiastic the other person was. On the outside, people joke about it. They ghosted me. There are memes, tweets, casual comments about dodging a bullet. But when the phone is off and the room is quiet, the experience hits more deeply. The brain tries to make sense of the blank space. It doesn't like open loops, so it fills them with self-doubt. Maybe I'm boring. Maybe I said something wrong. Maybe I'm not attractive enough, interesting enough, good enough. What gets shown to the world is often a calm, whatever, their loss. What's felt inside is more like grief mixed with embarrassment. Grief for the future you were already imagining. Embarrassment that you were the one who cared more. So where does this pattern come from? Why do people disappear instead of just saying, I'm not interested, or I can't do this? Part of it starts with how we're taught to handle discomfort. A girl grows up in a home where saying no leads to conflict. When she tries to set a boundary, the reaction is big: yelling, guilt, silent treatment. She learns quickly that direct communication is dangerous. Keeping quiet keeps the peace. So she becomes skilled at avoiding hard conversations. As an adult, when she doesn't want to continue a connection, her body remembers that old tension. Instead of saying, I don't see this going anywhere, she pulls away quietly. Disappearing feels safer than being the bad guy. A boy grows up hearing, don't hurt people's feelings, but no one teaches him how to be honest kindly. He's told to be nice, to be polite, to let people down gently, but he never sees that modeled. What he does learn is that emotional messes are uncomfortable. Crying, anger, disappointment, those moments feel unbearable. So, as an adult, when he senses someone getting attached to him and he doesn't feel the same, he panics. He doesn't want to see their hurt. He doesn't want to feel his guilt. So he chooses the path with no visible reaction. No text, no call, no confrontation. Maybe there was a lot of emotional inconsistency growing up. A parent was warm one day, distant the next. They'd be available and then suddenly shut down, leaving the child confused. No explanations, no repair, just emotional ghosting, present in the room but unreachable. The child learns that relationships include sudden drops in connection with no clear reason. It hurts, but it's familiar. As an adult, both sides of this can show up. Disappearing when overwhelmed or clinging hard when someone else pulls away because this is how it always goes. On top of that, culture and technology play a role. Many people are raised in environments where feelings aren't discussed openly. If you don't like someone, just move on. Don't be dramatic. They'll get the hint. We're surrounded by quick connections, swipe, match, chat, and just as quick exits. There's always another profile, another message, another option. That abundance makes it easier to treat people as replaceable shapes on a screen rather than full humans who will lie awake and wonder, why? Psychology gives language to some of this. Attachment styles, for example. Some people learn an avoidance style. Closeness feels threatening. Dependence feels dangerous. When someone starts moving closer, their instinct isn't to talk about it. It's to retreat. Ghosting becomes a way to protect themselves from the vulnerability of saying, I don't know how to do this, or I'm scared. There's also the nervous system. When conflict feels like threat, the body can go into a kind of freeze or flight mode. Instead of staying in the discomfort long enough to reply, the person escapes by ignoring, delaying, pretending the message isn't there. It's not always cruelty. Often, it's fear and disguise. So how does ghosting show up now in everyday life, beyond romantic stories and jokes? Emotionally, the person who gets ghosted can experience symptoms that look a lot like grief. There's loss, but no clear story to wrap around it. No conversation to mark the end. It's like a book ripped out of your hands mid-chapter, with no chance to read the last page. The mind tries to rewrite that page again and again. That's why people find themselves obsessively checking profiles, rereading chats, asking friends, "Do you think I did something wrong?" In the body, there can be that familiar anxiety surge, tight chest, stomach drop, restlessness. The nervous system hates unpredictability, and ghosting is pure unpredictability. No pattern, no explanation, no closure. For some, it awakens old wounds. Times they felt abandoned, overlooked, or suddenly cut off without warning. That's why the reaction can feel too big for what happened. It's not just this one person, it's every time they were left without answers. On the ghoster side, it doesn't always feel easy, even if it looks that way. Many describe waves of guilt. They avoid opening messages because seeing the unread text makes their heart race. They tell themselves, "I'll reply later when I know what to say," but later doesn't come. The longer they wait, the harder it gets, because now they're not just avoiding discomfort, they're avoiding the fact that they avoided it. Shame can keep them quiet. It's easier to pretend the relationship never mattered than to face the hurt it caused. Projection can also show up. Someone who ghosts might deeply fear being seen as cruel or uncaring. So, when they're on the other side, when someone ghosts them, they might react with intense anger, calling that person heartless, immature, cold. What they can't stand in others is often what they can't accept in themselves, the part of them that disappears when things get hard. If you've been ghosted, you might find yourself thinking, "Why does this bother me so much? It wasn't even that long." That question usually points to something deeper. Maybe it pokes at an old story. I'm easy to leave. I'm forgettable. People always walk away when I care. The present pain hooks into past pain. That's why it stings so sharply. If you've ghosted someone, you might find yourself thinking, "Why can't I just reply? It would be so simple." but your body feels heavy every time you try. Maybe your past taught you that being honest leads to drama or rejection. Maybe you watched adults avoid each other instead of talking. Maybe you never learned the language of gentle endings, only silent ones. It's tempting to label ghosting as pure bad behavior and stop there, but that doesn't help anyone change. The uncomfortable truth is that ghosting is information. It reveals the places where we, individually and as a culture, don't know how to handle discomfort, vulnerability, and endings. The pain you feel after being ghosted is not proof that you're weak. It's proof that you took the connection seriously, that you were present, that your nervous system is reacting to an unfinished story. The guilt or avoidance you feel if you've ghosted someone isn't proof that you're a monster. It's a sign that your current tools for handling conflict are limited, that a younger, scared part of you is driving the car. So how can you work with all this in a practical way? First, notice your emotional triggers and patterns around ghosting. If you've been ghosted, pay attention to what exactly sets off the biggest reaction. Is it seeing someone online who won't answer you? Is it when messages stay unseen? Is it when they disappear right after you shared something vulnerable? Notice not just what happened, but what story your mind attaches to it. You can write it down in a notebook. They didn't reply after I opened up. Story in my head, my feelings are too much. The chat went silent after a good date. Story in my head, I misread everything, I'm foolish. This helps separate the facts from the story. Facts, one person stopped responding. Story, I am unlovable. The two are not the same. If you've ghosted someone, notice what happens in your body when you see their name. Do you feel a rush of shame? A tightness in your chest? A desire to throw your phone across the room? These reactions tell you that avoidance has become your nervous system's way of trying to stay safe. Second, start an honest inner dialogue or journaling practice. If you've been ghosted, give yourself space to say what you never got to say. Write them a letter you will never send. Let yourself be honest. I liked you. I'm hurt. I deserved a goodbye. This isn't about getting them back. It's about giving your feelings a place to land. If you've ghosted someone, write from the part of you that disappeared. I didn't know how to say I wasn't feeling it. I was scared of your reaction. I didn't want to see you hurt. Then write from the part of you that cares about how you handled it. I regret not being honest. I know you deserved better. Let both parts speak. You are both the scared avoider and the one who wants to grow. Third, practice setting boundaries without long explanations. Ghosting is, in a way, an extreme boundary with no words. Silence as a fence. But there's another way. Small, clear boundaries that honor both people. If you're not interested in continuing a connection, try simple, kind phrases like, I've realized I don't feel a romantic connection, so I don't want to keep dating, but I appreciate the time we spent. I'm not in a place to continue this connection, so I'm going to step back. Short, honest, not cruel. You don't have to give a detailed report of everything wrong with them. You just give a clear frame. It will still feel uncomfortable, especially at first, but discomfort is not danger. It's a sign you're doing something new. If you've been ghosted and someone tries to reappear without acknowledgement, you can use boundaries too. You might say, when you disappeared without a word, it hurt. That makes it hard for me to trust this. Or, if you don't want to re-engage at all, I'm not interested in reconnecting, but I wish you well. You are allowed to protect your energy, even if part of you still wants answers they may never give. Fourth, practice solitude without distraction after being ghosted. The urge to fill the silence is strong. Download a new app, find a new chat, prove to yourself you're still wanted. But constantly jumping to the next person can keep you from what actually happened. Try spending some time just with yourself after a ghosting experience. It can be gentle, a walk, a bath, sitting with music. As feelings come up, sadness, anger, embarrassment, notice them without rushing to numb them. You can say to yourself, of course I feel this way. This was confusing and painful. Giving yourself that validation is part of the repair you never got from them. Fifth, Create small, honest moments with others. Ghosting thrives in a culture where people don't talk about their internal worlds. You can't change the whole culture, but you can make small shifts in your own relationships. Practice saying things like, "I'm not great at ending things, but I want to be more honest." "I get anxious when messages suddenly stop. That's something I'm working on." With trusted people, this kind of honesty builds a different pattern, one where disappearing isn't the only option when things get tricky. Sixth, a weekly no to avoid unconscious ghosting. If you're someone who tends to ghost, it often starts with overcommitting, saying yes too fast, getting in deeper than you're ready for. Then the pressure builds and escape becomes the only thing that feels possible. Practice saying small no's earlier. "No, I don't want to move this to daily calls." "No, I'm not available to text all day." "No, I don't feel a romantic spark." The more you say no clearly, the less you'll feel cornered later. Seventh, talk to the part of you that fears endings. For most people, ghosting is less about not caring and more about struggling with endings. In your mind, picture the part of you that believes, "If I hurt someone, I'm a bad person," or "If I say what I really feel, everything will explode." Ask that part, when did you first learn this? Maybe it remembers childhood scenes of ugly fights, slammed doors, or long silences. Tell it gently, "We're not there anymore. We can handle hard conversations now. We can be kind and honest at the same time." Over time, with these practices, something shifts. If you're often the one getting ghosted, your sense of self isn't shattered as easily. Yes, it still hurts, but you're quicker to say, "This is information about where they are, not proof of my worth." You might still miss them, you might still wonder why, but you spend less time attacking yourself and more time caring for yourself. You become more selective about who gets your emotional energy. You notice red flags earlier, people who are inconsistent, vague, or avoidant. Instead of chasing harder, you step back sooner. You save your deeper openness for those who show up consistently. If you've been the one ghosting, you notice that you're less likely to disappear without a word. You still feel the urge, especially when you're overwhelmed, but you also feel a new courage, the ability to send one clear message instead of endless silence. You see that facing a moment of discomfort can prevent months of guilt. Your relationships change. Some are shorter but cleaner, and honest, "This isn't right for me," instead of a slow fade. Others deepen because they're built on truth instead of guesses. Even your relationship with yourself softens. You're not constantly running from your own reactions. The panic about being found out as too much, too needy, too cold, too flaky eases a bit. You don't need everyone to understand your choices. You just need to live in a way that feels more aligned with your values: respect, honesty, care, including self-care. And when ghosting does happen, because it still will in some form, you have more inner tools. You can say, "This hurts," without turning it into, "I am unlovable." You can choose not to chase someone who has shown you how they handle discomfort. You can feel the sting and still move forward, instead of freezing in the unanswered question. Return for a moment to that image at the start, the person in the kitchen staring at a silent phone. Maybe now, instead of checking the chat for the 100th time, they put the phone down. They allow themselves to feel sad, annoyed, disappointed. They whisper, "I deserved a conversation." They make themselves tea. They message a trusted friend and say, "I got ghosted and I feel like crap. Can I vent?" They give themselves the clarity they weren't given. The psychology behind ghosting is not some faraway theory. It's right here in the way you handle discomfort, endings, and your own vulnerability. Understanding it won't erase the pain, but it can help you stop turning that pain against yourself and start choosing people and patterns that can stay when things get real. If this resonated with you, subscribe for more videos on psychology and personal growth. And if you feel comfortable, share in the comments. Have you been ghosted, or have you ghosted someone? What did it bring up for you? That kind of honest reflection is where real healing begins.